Today's lecture is not more about contaminants in water and how to remove them. It's about hidden water in other things, hidden water in food, hidden water in energy, and about hidden energy in water, and hidden food in water, and all the stuff that just isn't all that obvious. I was introduced to the concept of embedded or hidden water, sometimes called virtual water, as a graduate student at UCLA when we had a guest speaker from Case Western University who was a specialist on resource conflict in the Middle East. He informed us that one of the flashpoints between Israel and Arab countries like Syria and Jordan and Palestine was the amount of water from the Golan Heights aquifer being exported by Israel. Not used by, he told us, but exported, meaning never returned to the aquifer. In particular, he said, it was the water in goods like bread and other grain products made from wheat and rice, and fruits like oranges and bananas. Each time a crate of food products was loaded onto a boat and shipped out of Israel, it represented a net loss of water from the region. Fruits are primarily composed of water, most between roughly 80 and 90%. So when fruits and boxes of pasta leave the country, they carry tremendous quantities of water with them. Besides the water embedded in the food, there is the water used in growing and processing the agricultural produce, most of which is never reclaimed. So water-intensive agriculture represents a net loss to the life support capacity of the region. And since Israel, he said, is growing for and exporting to countries who want produce that did not evolve in water-stressed regions, this regionally inappropriate type of agriculture creates ecological deficits that make it harder for other countries dependent on the same limited aquifers to thrive. This is the basis of many conflicts, he said. I got a taste of some of this logic firsthand when I spent a summer with my family in Syria. We went to stay with one of the Khalidis, a family friend, outside Damascus, who had a farm. The farm was in the desert, but was lush with tomatoes and cucumbers and watermelons. On the outskirts of the farm, amidst the scrub and shrubs of the dry land, a Bedouin tribe was camping with their sheep and goats and camels and a truck. They were in their tent watching a television set powered by the truck battery through an inverter, and as I approached to say hello, they invited me in for some tea. Outside the tent, a woman was busy making sheep's cheese. When they saw me glance over at her, they said, "Tfaddal, have some sheep cheese. Have some fresh cheese. We are preparing it for a wedding, but you're welcome to have some." I politely declined, saying, "Well, that's very kind of you, but I'm a vegan," meaning that I don't eat any animal products at all. "No animal products? Are you kidding?" they asked with incredulous smiles. "Why, yes, I used to be a vegetarian," I replied, "because I'm an environmentalist, and I decided to get even more committed to protecting our ecologies. I was vegetarian for 2 years this last time, and now I've been vegan in addition to that for 7 months. They scowled. One man said, "We Bedouins have been living on this land for thousands of years with our animals. This farm that your friend owns used to be part of our grazing territory, so she lets us camp here and graze around the outskirts. Our animals eat the scrub and thorny bushes that grow in the desert, things that human beings cannot eat. They get nourishment and water from these plants, and they drink from the wells and oases and return water to the ground in their urine and manure, along with nutrients for more plants to grow. And they turn these plants into things we can eat, into milk and cheese and yogurt and meat, and also into useful things like hide and bone. The arrangement works nicely and has for generations. When they have grazed the vegetation down, we leave to another area and give the plants time to come back, Yani. But your friend's farm, all those citrus trees and tomatoes and fruits and vegetables, they take all the water from the wells in the land and grow plants that could never survive in this desert by themselves. And then they ship these plants with all their water to the city, and the water and the nutrients never come back. Eventually the area dries up and the land gets salty and nothing will grow. So who is doing more to help the environment and who to harm the environment? You or us?" Apologize for the accent. As an Arab American, we often poke fun at Alec Guinness playing King Faisal in Lawrence of Arabia. Alec Guinness, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, he used the same accent for Obi-Wan that he used for King Faisal in the movie Lawrence of Arabia. So that's what you heard me attempting. Meanwhile, on that day, shocked by their indisputable logic, I stopped being a vegan. I had never thought about embedded water and the water cycle this way before. I didn't really appreciate the idea of Lynn Margulis's hyper-sea. But now when I look at the world, I see the water. I see the water in the cells of the life forms upon the planet beneath the skin and the bark. Often I feel like I can see the water that went into the manufacturing and the transport of things. The whole world looks like flows of water in my mind's eye. It looks like water doing a dance, endlessly moving from one place to another, from the ocean into the sky and onto land, into objects, breaking apart into rivulets, spending time in the bodies of living creatures that transpire and sweat and pee and die, coming together in rivers, flowing back into the ocean, often being poisoned along the way. In the last lecture, we talked about water contamination, and here we need to take a radical approach to water conservation by asking ourselves, is this an appropriate use of water? Should water be retained in this process, in this organism, in this landscape? And if so, for how long, in what form, at what solute concentration? Now let's take the example of the American obsession with lawns. Lawns take up more water than almost any other form of agriculture and contaminate with proportionally more pesticides and herbicides and toxic chemicals than almost any other plant-growing endeavor. One of the mantras of the environmental movement is that lawns are bad, and environmentalists often try to get people to give up their lawns. A great meme about this has been going around the internet about a conversation with God about lawns. Here's God on lawns. Imagine the conversation the Creator might have had with St. Francis on the subject of lawns. I will again attempt to do Morgan Freeman, because he is God. Hey, St. Francis, you know all about gardens and nature. What in the world is going on down there in the Midwest? What happened to the dandelions, the violets, the thistles, and the stuff I started eons ago? I had a perfect no-maintenance garden plan. Those plants grow in any type of soil, withstand drought, and multiply with abandon. The nectar from the long-lasting blossoms attracts butterflies, honeybees, and flocks of songbirds. I expected to see a vast garden of colors by now, but all I see are these green rectangles. St. Francis of Assisi. It's the tribes that settled there, Lord, the suburbanites. They started calling your flowers weeds and went to great lengths to kill them and replace them with the grass. Grass? But it's so boring. It's not colorful. It doesn't attract butterflies, birds, and bees, only grubs and sodworms. It's temperamental with temperatures. Do these suburbanites really want all that grass growing there? Apparently so, Lord. They go to great pains to grow it and to keep it green. They begin each spring by fertilizing grass and poisoning any other plant that crops up in the lawn. The spring rains and warm weather probably makes grass grow really fast. That must make the suburbanites happy. Apparently not, Lord. As soon as it grows a little, they cut it sometimes twice a week. They cut it? Do they then bale it like hay? Well, not exactly, Lord. Most of them rake it up and put it in bags. They bag it? Why? Is it a cash crop? Do they sell it? No, sir, just the opposite. They pay to throw it away. Now let me get this straight. They fertilize grass, so when it does grow, they cut it off and pay to throw it away? Yes, sir. These suburbanites must be relieved in the summer when we cut back on the rain and turn up the heat. That surely slows the growth and saves them a lot of work. Oh, you're not going to believe this, Lord. When did the grass stop growing so fast? They drag out hoses and pay more money for watering it, so they can continue to mow it and pay to get rid of it. What nonsense. At least they kept some of the trees. That was a sheer stroke of genius, if I do say so myself. The trees grow leaves in the spring to provide beauty and shade in the summer. In the autumn, they fall to the ground and form a natural blanket to keep moisture in the soil and protect the trees and bushes. Plus, as they rot, the leaves form compost to enhance the soil. It's a natural circle of life. Oh, you better sit down, Lord. The suburbanites have drawn a new circle. As soon as the leaves fall, they rake them into great piles and pay to have them hauled away. No. What do they do to protect the shrub and tree roots in the winter and to keep the soil moist? No. What do they do to protect the shrub and tree roots in the winter and to keep the soil moist and loose? After throwing away the leaves, they go out and buy something which they call a mulch. They haul it home and spread it around in place of the leaves. And where do they get this mulch? They cut down trees and they grind them up to make the mulch. Enough! I don't want to think about this anymore. Sister Catherine, you're in charge of the arts. What movie have you scheduled for us tonight? Oh, Dumb and Dumber. Lord, it's a real stupid movie about... Never mind, I think I just heard the whole story from St. Francis. That dialogue was from a website called richsoil.com/lawn/god.jsp. It's funny, my accents notwithstanding, and it's for the most part true. There is a whole literature about the political ecology of our modern worldwide obsession with the grass family, a family I consider to be a mafia.